How about a little bedtime true crime sprinkled in with a little art? Oh, look, Scully's saying hi in the background. Say hi. But first, I think I may need to fix the eyelash on this side, so I'm gonna do it on camera. Left side never looks right. Okay, here we go. I could probably make a whole series on murder art. Show your interest in the comments section. Have you ever heard of Rosemary West and her husband? Well, she murdered young women with said husband in Britain between the years of 1973 and 1987 at 25 Cromwell. There's been several movie adaptations and series about the pair. Appropriate Adult was a really good one. You should go check it out. But the reason that I'm bringing up Rose West is because her sponge cake won a bake-off when she was in prison. Yes, baking can be a creative outlet just like making art. Several serial killers and murders developed art as a way of creative expression before, during, and even after prison by drawing, painting, making choker necklaces, and even origami. Now, if you're my age and you're thinking about murder art, I'm sure Charles Manson and John Wayne Gacy are the first to come to mind, but there's so many others. Dennis Rader, also known as BTK, used to draw book plates for fans of his autobiography. This is one right here. It says Confessions of a Serial Killer, The Untold Story. Elmer Wayne Henley, who brutally raped and murdered at least 29 young boys in Texas, said that art has calmed him. Elmer liked to paint seascapes and surrealism, and he was actually said to be a pretty good artist. Gacy is mostly known for his self-portraits as Pogo the Clown, but he also did like some Hi-Ho Disney series and a lot of other things. This is Gacy's work right here, as well as this one titled Pogo the Clown 1986, Pogo the Clown 1985. Then we have Clown Skull in a Jimmy Durant sketch. He named this one Seven Dwarves, called this one Hi-Ho the Winter, and probably the most frightening of all, just called Clown. Regardless as to whether they actually have any real artistic talent, the art will sell either way because of their crimes. Hell, people used to commission Gacy to do self-portraits. They would send him photographs and canvases while he was in prison. Sam Little, who was convicted of dozens of murders, created vibrant, colorful drawings of his victims, and the FBI actually used these drawings to try to locate said victims. So Sam's approach was a little different. Los Angeles, California, white female. This is Sam Little's work. White female killed in 1984, met victim in Columbus, Ohio, body disposed somewhere in northern Kentucky. Black female, age 26, killed between 1976 and 1979, met victim in St. Louis, Missouri, victim possibly called Joe. Then we have black female between 28 and 29 years old, killed in 1984, victim picked up in Memphis, Tennessee. Houston, Texas, black female between 25 and 28 years old, killed between 1976 and 1997 or in 1993. This is the work of Charles Manson, and I actually really like this painting. But so is this, and whatever this is. Have you ever heard of Glenn Rogers? He was the man that was trying to take credit for the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Glenn explained this as a murder for hire plot and depicted it in his artwork, saying that OJ was not completely innocent but didn't do the actual crime itself. He planned it. What's even weirder is that Glenn Rogers only lived 25 minutes away from the scene of the crime, and he worked for a painting company that went to give Nicole Brown an estimate to have her condo painted. This is some of his work right here. Glenn Rogers was 6'2", 240 pounds, and had this MO of not leaving much evidence behind. He was referred to as the cross-country killer and was convicted of 2 first-degree murder charges, but then he admitted to a whole bunch of others. For all I know, he's just another Otis Toole. You know, Otis Toole, who falsely took credit for a bunch of murders that they were trying to solve, like these cold cases, and then eventually was convicted of killing Matt Walsh's son. Yeah, that Otis Toole. And I was getting the same vibe when I was reading about Glenn Rogers. Maybe he just wanted a strawberry shake and a Big Mac. Even Gypsy Rose Blanchard herself has a history with wanting to be an artist. Look at this painting she made. I'm just kidding. Gypsy didn't paint that last one. She only did the blowjob art, as you see pictured here. I mean, blown beauty art. And this is supposed to be something else that she painted when she was in prison. Oh, and did you guys know that that Blown Beauty art page is still up, but it hasn't had a post since 2025? How's that going, Gypsy? This is some of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's art that I recorded, I don't know, about a year ago. Killers frequently use artwork to project a specific image. Gacy, for instance, painted harmless landscapes and clowns. This allowed him to hide his psychopathic shadow that looms over him still today, even in death. This was an attempt to hide behind a child-friendly facade to blend seamlessly into suburban life. Sound familiar? It's really just another way to compartmentalize and mask the real evil that they are. Because even though someone commits heinous crimes, it's still human nature to want to be accepted by society. I myself, Soul and Beauty, even have an interest in murder art, and I have some murder memorabilia that I've never showed anybody. And psychologists refer to this as the talisman effect. The talisman effect is a psychological phenomenon where people place exaggerated, almost magical level of trust in an object or practice to provide protection, healing, or good fortune. Kind of like Boyd in the show From and the Talisman, and Fatima with the golem that she made from the mud. It's the exact same kind of concept. It's a placebo effect. And you see, when people believe in an object, the confidence they have put within that object can actually improve performance or reduce stress, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the only reason that this art is the least bit interesting is because, like the crime, it too was done by the hand of a psychopath. Some psychologists argue that art therapy offers a late case autopsy. Paintings often display known psychological markers of trauma, such as religious symbolism or violent themes that betray how killers process guilt and aggression. Carl Jung's concept of the shadows suggests that exploring such art allows humans to glimpse their own fears and darker instincts. While clinicians warn against selling this kind of art at auction, strongly advocating that it be sent directly to forensic clinicians for analysis rather than into the hands of true crime collectors. And there are plenty of true crime collectors that want such pieces, but many people find the display and acquisition of this kind of art offensive, sensationalistic, and that it exploits the victims and their families. And I quote Harold Schechter, true crime writer, "It's not the subject matter itself. What inspires such widespread disgust is the mere notion that convicted lust killers are allowed to be treated like minor celebrities." All in all, the juxtaposition of violence and creativity frequently sparks intense cultural debate. Violence itself has long been depicted in art and poetry, while families of victims and advocacy groups push against the commodification of killer-created items such as murderabilia, arguing that they glorify the perp and cause eternal, long-lasting harm/trophies to those affected by their crimes. Let me know where you fall in at on this topic in the comments section. Should these criminals be allowed to sell their art for monetary value, memorializing their sick twistedness for good?